the capital of country music life. If you live to make the world a better place, we invite you to gather and co-create for 2 days. Day 1, meet curated, heartfelt influencers sharing strategies and innovation. Day 2 calls for conscious conversations. Lightworker power panelists discuss industry urgent topics. And for the first time, you requested, we co-created a third day, a 36-hour, ultra-private, closed-door Whisper Summit. We call it Afterglow, where 2 or more gather, featuring high-wattage leaders of light who share unpublished career advice and trade secrets. It all takes place in the luxurious Gaylord Opryland Hotel, where you may enjoy a full spa, poolside drinks, and tasty dining. And don't miss our Honky Tonk Sumper and Step Networking event happening Saturday night. Wear cowboy attire, feast, and learn Astro secrets about you and cosmic allies. Consider this an invitation. Let us celebrate our ascension at the brightest gathering of love in the world. Ticket sales are open now at unitethelight.love. Hello and welcome to the Mega Monthly Zodiac Show. My name is Sensei Christopher Witecki, and I'm joined by my co-host, Robbie Hunt. Hello, Robbie.
Hi there, Christopher. Boy, what a day so far, huh?
And exactly. Well, you know, our title this month is Beauty Outshines Chaos, and I'd say we right here are just that example here. We're going to outshine that chaos day. We've already had some chaos going on, technically and otherwise, so thank you all for patience. You've been watching for the live stream here. We are in the month now and reporting on Taurus, and that is the theme, is Beauty Outshines Chaos. Expect a lot of it, frankly, to be coming, and I think this example is a perfect one. We have to live up to our astrology. And the subplot of this month, though, is a good one, I think. It's manifest potential will hit historic heights. Historic heights. Now, of course, this is for the Taurus season. We now report by sign here at Sirius Joy, and that means that we're in Taurus from April 19th to May 20th, 2025. And we have a lot to talk about this coming month, Robbie, but I think let's maybe go back a month and just review a little bit what Aries season has been, which we titled Christening the We-Go. So, yeah, what's the first keyword that comes up for you with April, or I should say Aries, and what came up?
Mine was cutting through clutter in order to get things done. Now, I don't mean clutter like you would deal with in Virgo season or even in Capricorn, but it was a determination to get things done despite the clutter. And the clutter, though, was everyone else. It wasn't me. It was people over here, people over there, people over here, people over there. And so how I handled that was a whole new way of looking at those people over there. I redefined the we-go. I took a look at why this was going this way, why this was going that way, and with a determination in redefining that relationship, I found things happened, doors opened easier. There was just a whole shift, and it shifted with me going from me go to we go. That's how it went down for me. What about you?
For me, I had a lot of karmic stuff come up, first of all. For Taurus, Aries is our 12th house, so a lot of people taking advantage. And I think for me, the we-go had to do with really including myself and to some degree having no mercy. Like, I think my mercy and my compassion has always gotten me kind of killed, which, is opposite of other people. But so I had to include myself. I had to really think for myself, put myself first, like really had to put myself first, honestly, for the first time in my life. So to me, the we-go is including myself. And I have to say, there's times when I do include myself. So I'm just as a share to everyone. It's not as black and white as you might think. There are times when I exclude myself. There's times when I exclude the other. And I exclude the other because I was trying to get back for me. So it's an interesting dynamic there. There was a lot of traffic. There was a lot of subconscious stuff happening, things breaking, stuff like that. And I had a lot of anger. A lot of anger came up, actually, that I had felt was repressed.
That's interesting. You said a lot of anger. A lot of mine was resignation, so that there was no anger. Kind of this is how it is. And that brought me actually a degree of comfort. I didn't need to. I didn't need to understand it. I didn't need to explain it. Just a very Aries direct shot of seeing something how it was kind of all I needed. Though I've had my months where the anger came up, and I've had my months where there was a confusion. But for me, and maybe because of the stuff that we had going on in Pisces, it was a holy resignation. I'll put it that way. A little bit more blessed in terms of how it felt okay on the inside.
Well, bless you, Robbie.
Well, thank you. And of course, that is what we say down here in the South, and
Bless your
we do
heart.
mean it. We bless
Bless your
our
heart.
hearts. Yes.
Well, and I feel, my therapist and I will talk to you about it later when we bring you to a third. I'm just kidding. No, but I think, there's levels of grief, and anger is one of the first levels, so I think there's to some degree that. Anger is healthy for the record. I do think so, but I also think you really do what you did, which is to clear it. I agree with that too. But I'm in a different state personally. Energetically, I think the other thing was the Libra issue. Again, the injustices in my life became very prevalent, where things were unfair, things were stolen. I had things stolen from me, just people trespassing, taking more, really revealing their cards. Like anyone who was, I thought suspect, just did something obvious to hang themselves. And so I had a lot of relationships ending, I would say, for good, which was, I didn't expect, but I'm not surprised. There's another part that I saw.
Well, you being a net 9, I think Aries is going to unfold for you differently than it would for me as 22.
Yeah.
So I,
Totally.
I think the net 9s and the Aries, you got the bigger brunt of it.
Oh, did I? I also saw a lot of Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. I definitely felt her move in there. Which to me is, for Taurus, is, that was our mirage, how we relate to ourselves. So right away, fear, old fears of panic and stuff. Although I have to say, they didn't really take me this time. It came up and started saying boo, and I was like, sit down. There's more of that kind of thing. Shut up, be quiet. But that was to me, those are like revelation. So that might be a part of my age. But now that she came around this time around, because I remember the last two times she came around in Scorpio, I was on my knees in prayer. This time I was like, angry, not angry, just irritable, like get out of here kind of thing, like a fly, get away from me kind of thing.
So it didn't take you down, but it still leveled you just a little bit.
Presented, wanted a reaction, and got a smaller one than usual, kind of thing. Did you feel Neptune going into Aries?
Oh yeah, much more than Black Moon Lilith going into Scorpio. I felt Neptune go into Aries, and to me it brought up for me old righteous anger.
Like biblical?
But righteous anger from this lifetime. It was not karmic. It was remembering when I was 8 years old. No, I wasn't 8 years old. I was 16. And remember asking the pastor if God was both male and female. Why did we always call God he? And I was summarily kicked out of the church for that night.
Wow.
And so the remembrances of that's what came up, was some righteous anger about remembering in a couple of churches how I've been treated.
Huh. It's interesting. Wow, I've never heard that story before, but that's fascinating. I would say that cannot be more perfect of a Neptune Aries kind of situation. For me, Neptune Aries felt, well, first of all, I felt Neptune leave Pisces. Like it was like, it was like, some sort of sleep drug wore off. I was like, whoop. Suddenly I was so sharper. I literally felt just, colors sharper. Everything got sharper almost immediately, like a fog lifting or having clean your glasses. So I felt that. I guess I felt that leaving Pisces more than I felt it entering Aries. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm with you on that one. I think that's where the righteous anger came up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, sure, one more for the road?
Well, but also as an astrologer, I know that Neptune is only there for a bit. It's heading back into Pisces.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I know something else is around the corner. There's that expectation. And I think it'll feel differently in 2026 when it does finally go into Aries. So maybe my mind is playing around with me a little bit as well.
Yeah, being Aries, I did see my psychic abilities shift to action in the sense of like suddenly, I don't know how to describe it, but just my psychic ability now can sort of see how one action will lead to another kind of thing. Like just how everything's going to unfold. Where in Pisces, like, I don't know, we'll just have to see, let's throw the dart with a, blindfold on. Neptune in the Aries sounds something like, oh, and this will hit this and this and that, and they'll be bullseye. Like there's something in me feels much more like I can throw things and hit a target better. I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And can see things coming and feel things coming a bit more too. Certainly, I'm more jumpy around noises and so any kind of movement or suspicious movement or people lurking around. Like I'm suddenly twice as aware suddenly of everyone's movements and stuff. I think that's also Neptune Aries. Interesting little side effect there. Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, it's not just Neptune that was in Aries. There was Saturn in the North Node, Mercury and Venus, all that stuff. So there was a lot going on there in both the outer and the personal planet. So to me, that explains why it felt both personal and the exterior as well.
Yeah, I'm just curious on how psychic awareness shifts with Neptune and Aries. You know, for instance, the Civil War. I mean, Aries energy is Earth energy, right? Movement on Earth. Physical movement on Earth. So if you take your psychic eye, Neptune, you put that in the movement. I think all of our awareness is going to shift a bit as far as what we're psychically sharp at, right? Mm-hmm. And every kid born today, is going to have some sort of psychic Aries. I mean, I've never seen a Neptune Aries child in this lifetime. Mm-hmm. Right, so I don't even know what to say in a reading for that. You know when things are coming. Is that a person who will know? In 2 days you'll get a letter, kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll do our first reading for somebody like that in about 15 or 20 years.
Yeah. If we live to tell the day. Just kidding.
I am determined to be here.
We will be. And then we have Mars left Cancer finally over the last month as well. I have to say, just recently, wasn't it? Just recently. Mm-hmm. And, Mars first of all had retrograded. Started in Leo. If you guys remember the old tale, Mars was retrograded in Leo back in December. I think it was December 6th. I think Mars was at 6, if I'm not mistaken. What was that stationary degree?
Yes. I believe it was 6.
Yeah. Was 6, yeah. And so Mars retrograded all the way through, the beginning of the year. Frankly, we have been Mars deficient the entire year, really, one way or another. Even with Venus going down right after Mars, went direct, we just haven't had that polarity energy that we are used to. So things have been sluggish for everyone. But Mars in Cancer was pissing me off. I mean, it was stirring the pot. It was in my 12th, so I was just old stuff just getting stirred and stirred and stirred. If I had a sore toe, someone definitely stepped on it, kind of thing. But once it went, once it left, my moodiness went down by about 20%, I would say.
Well, and it's in my 7th, and so I did find my patience with relationships rather thin while I was there. Now, as you and I are recording, Mars isn't 100% into Leo yet. It's right there at 29. But when a lot of people see this, it will have moved into Leo. And I am glad for it. I am happy for it. I am ready to be done with Mars slugging through the waters of Cancer. As an air sign, that would certainly be how I would feel.
Well, and this 29th degree, I feel big time. I have to say, I've never shouted more times in 1 week than Mars Cancer. I'll just tell you that right now. But I think it's good as long as we're responding inward. That's our message to everyone. Respond inward with that. When Mars goes to Leo, though, I know we're going to feel it because I think we're going to feel some love on the planet. Man, we've been very love-starved because Mars went through Leo and sort of stopped everything. So it's sort of like stopping a wedding, as the bride's walking down the aisle and just pausing it for 4 months, right? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of love themes will kick up, when Mars goes to Leo. We'll talk more about it here in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see. I'll see you about.
Well, with that review, you want to go ahead and let's move into talking about Taurus.
Yeah. Some of the themes of this month. Again, beauty outshines chaos is our main theme of the month. And manifest potential hits historic heights. So, Robbie, what do you think the key topics for the planets?
Key topics for the planets. Now, let's just talk about basically during this Taurus transit. It's kind of quiet, but it's still waters run deep. The big things that we've got, like Venus moving into Aries, Pluto's going to go retrograde. We've got a full moon at 22 Scorpio. The nodes are going to move to 25, and that big sun conjunct Uranus. So that's part of why we're talking about this being some potential that meets historic heights. But it's also acknowledging the chaos and the whole idea of beauty as it deals with Taurus. Taurus doesn't do anything half-ass. It wants the beauty. It wants the value. So we're saying part of what this is if you will also go looking for that, you'll find it as well. I kind of think that's the overview for Taurus. Before I go into week one, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, the new moon and the full moon, I think, tell the story. And so we'll just say ahead of time, the new moon is very delicate. It's a spiritual story 7. The full moon's 22 Scorpio. I think that's going to be something traumatic, quantum. That's going to be on May 12th. We'll talk about that. But 22 degrees Scorpio full moon, holy shift. Shift's going to hit the fan. Let's put it that way somewhere. And everyone's home. But then really, what the Unite the Light is built upon is the Sun conjunction Uranus at 27 this month. So that, to me, is going to catapult. I mean, if it conjuncted Uranus on a 26 or 28, it'd be more of a stable conjunction. But the fact that it's on 27 is unpredictable. Positive, I won't say negative by any means. It always has positive results. I mean, you'd say at the end of the day, Robbie always intends to be positive, right, Robbie? You're a 22 Scorpio. You're a 22 Uranus, pure form. In some cases, I have 22 Uranus right here in the show, right here. But anyways, we'll have to see. It'd be actually, it's gonna be as if Robbie and I had a baby. I think on May 17th, we'll have to see what that looks like. It's kind of interesting, right?
Ooh, what will we call it?
It is the word. It'd be it. All right. So how do we start off with it?
I'm going to move us into the first week here. Let's talk about the first week of Taurus. That is going to be April 19th through the 26th, covering steps 0 through 6. And what we're looking at here is a week where my heart is going to integrate with the WeGo. And part of this coming from the sun's going to square Mars. Mars, it finally moves into Leo, and it's going to square at 1 degree. Well, 1 degree is a Leo ruled degree in Leo. So it's the opportunity for us to move into that more loving part of the WeGo, but it is a square. That means that we're going to have to kind of work at it. And something else also, Mars opposing Pluto, that we'll talk about in just a little bit. But that what we'll be working on, the subplot of this week, is unifying beliefs about my ascension. Okay, so Sun square and Pluto, we're basically integrating a whole lot of stuff. And with Pluto doing its eventual retrograde as we move on, there's just a lot about getting all those beliefs together and making sure they're on the same page. And when we do that, and how we go out into the world, how we integrate with everybody else through the WeGo starts to attract things a little bit better. But there is a question for the week that we want to go over and make sure that we're putting into our pipe and smoking it as we go through the week. What is it there, Christopher?
The question is, what ugly fear about myself am I being tempted by? And this comes from a couple of aspects that we're looking at this week. I think some fear about yourself may come up, or maybe something you don't like about yourself. I mean, fear is the obvious, but it could also be, let's say you feel ugly because you have a scar somewhere, something like that. And that's Black Moon Wealth going to 3 Scorpio. So overall, what's happening is any kind of fear or trauma or darkness around believing in yourself that keeps you from believing in yourself, that's preventing you from believing in yourself, is going to come up. And so it's going to sort of taunt you, tempt you, to play with you, play tricks on you, that sort of thing. The Earth is also in the first decan of Scorpio, so that we're manifesting. What we're manifesting this first week is a new integrity inside of ourselves, where we feel solid, or that's not going to get to me, and that's not going to get to me, and that's not going to get to me, and so it's going to get to you to make sure it doesn't get to you. And I think that's what we want to tell everyone. It's like the fact that it comes up is not because there's a problem. The fact that it comes up is it's testing to see what your official response is. It's always about your response that matters. It's not that it comes up. So I think that we'll see when it comes up.
Well, and if you're in Taurus, then the response has got to be something that is value-based, that is certainly investing in the best of yourself. And as we move through this first week, we've got a couple of transits that we want to talk with you about, get you prepared for them so that you can see what's going on. We'll kind of go through these kind of quick between Christopher and myself. The first one is certainly the Sun in Taurus squaring Mars at 1 degree that I already mentioned. So at 1 degree Leo, that's an incredibly potent square that really is saying that the most loving thing to do is invest in yourself. And that could be anything, such as investing in a better wardrobe. You're not going to Walmart anymore, you're going somewhere else. Whatever self love means to you. But it also means that you're taking action on it and that the universe sees it in order to bring more of the same opportunity to you. And then after that, Christopher.
I just want to add to that, I think, something theoretical, which is I feel like the Mars retrograde that we're talking about happened so long. The wisdom of that Mars retrograde, I think, has to get integrated with that square, you know.
Hmm.
I think, which is, and remember, Mars went down into Cancer for a long time. I mean, most of the transit was Mars retrograde in Cancer. So I feel like really what the Mars wisdom is like the way you respond emotionally to keep the heart healthy is, it's like an emotional response leads to, to heart health. And that emotional response leading to heart health is what leads to value, Taurus, valuing myself. I'm going to value myself because I'm going to nurture myself differently. And that's going to keep my heart alive, is one point I wanted to make there. And that's the self-love degree 1. Yeah. And then as you point out,
may I add something real quick? Because being aware of Tauruses don't like being uncomfortable. And I think that this is going to make some people uncomfortable when they have to invest in self love, even with all the work that we've done. So, the doing something for yourself, the speaking for yourself, the not getting yourself in a situation, if it feels uncomfortable, but you know you got to do it, that's that square.
yes, I would agree with that. And definitely, we don't like feeling, Tauruses do not like feeling uncomfortable. Just you saying that made me uncomfortable. But yeah, and sometimes it's tough love too. I mean, tough love in the sense of put down the second box of chocolates, Taurus. It's not very self-loving. You know, there's that as well too, because we've been supplementing with material. And I think most self-love, y'all, is inside. So I teach my clients personally on one-on-one coaching. The self-love is what you say to yourself on the inside. That's where most humans are lacking it. In the outer world, we're kind of getting it, especially in America. You know, we have too many reasons to love ourselves. But inside, the way you treat yourself, that's what matters most, I find.
Yeah.
To see the difference from the results, yeah.
Hmm.
Now, Saturn conjuncting the North Node is a call to arms, so to speak, literally. That happens on Monday, April 21st. And that will be really, what it comes to is Saturn is, of course, the enforcer, right? So Saturn is the no bullshit enforcer, the authoritarian, the authority of authority. And so when Saturn hits the North Node, it's pretty much a calling, it's almost like a bell going off, or in the army, the trumpet's playing that the army needs to stand tall. This is it. You have got to do it. And it's at a Saturn ruled degree 26 Pisces, the North Node at that time. So this is a devotion. Now you may be forced to do this because it's Saturn. So it may be that someone crosses a line and you have no choice but to do this. You have no choice but to. So sometimes you have no choice. Like you're an idiot if you don't, kind of thing. And that's actually a blessing because at least you don't have to justify why you were so extreme. What about yours? The next one with the square.
The next one is on Wednesday, April 23rd, Sun square Pluto at 3 Aqua. Now, this is before Pluto retrogrades. That's going to happen later in the Taurus season that we'll be talking about. But at 3 degrees, this is a huge transformation about what you're believing about yourself. And the Sun in Taurus, again, going with all that value stuff. What do you believe about all that? You've been forced to already look at it earlier with the Sun squaring Mars. How I see this is the opportunity to actually see a belief that you have just kept going, that you were completely unaware of. Sometimes to me, Taurus brings up things that you're doing that you didn't realize, just out of ignorance, that you didn't realize was having this dulling effect. That by doing this, putting that in the recipe or putting that in the washing machine or putting that in the refrigerator, that it kind of has a dulling effect. And I think part of what we're going to see is where maybe something that we've just been doing out of ignorance or just lack of self-awareness, that we see, you mean I still have a belief about doing blah, blah, and how it's just dulling things. So I think this is going to be an important square for us on that day, and the opportunity to really see something very valuable that we'll be thinking about even more once Pluto goes retrograde.
Indeed, and tested on too. And Taurus is the I manifestative awareness. So I think you'll see most likely you'll manifest clear and undeniable evidence as to whether or not you do believe in yourself or don't. I think because Taurus will manifest it. This thing, Taurus is like, see, it's always showing you, versus other ones are theoretical or you having to look for them. So that square is sort of like you believe yourself or you don't. You believe in yourself or you don't. And Pluto's like, here's the evidence you're looking for, if you don't have it. So yeah, I think that's going to be self-evident there. But you definitely have to incorporate at that point. You have no choice. The good thing is that it's Pluto. So it's like, I just tell myself, I have to believe myself. So shut up. Like the voices that don't want us to agree. I have to. It's Venus. It's Pluto, rather. The next, though, is Venus, as I was jumping ahead to. On Thursday, April 24th, Venus will conjunct the North Node at 26 degrees Pisces again. So remember, Saturn hit this on Monday. Venus comes by and comes. It's always like Saturn, the bad guy, comes through, raises all hell, says everyone you're going to die or go to jail if you don't do this right away. And Venus is like, now, how we doing? Comes in sort of sweetening effect. Truth is like you probably are stunned on Monday. So if something forces you to get on your path, which is what 26 Pisces is, get on your spiritual path. And yesterday you need to have been there, says Saturn. Venus is sort of coming in a more gentle way. And we're starting to, by this time, thaw out, actually accept and receive, take to heart what this means. So you may get a notice on Monday, and it will be not till Thursday of this week that you realize, oh, okay, I see how I have to do to get on this path. I see what I have to open up to. And Venus is also saying you've got to open up to some things. Open up meaning you weren't open to it, which is different than putting up a wall. Putting up a wall is not only open, but there's a barrier. Being open to it is simply you don't open your mouth. You don't inhale. You don't smell it. You don't taste it. And so maybe you haven't really tasted it yet, this order from Saturn. So you're going to taste it come Thursday. But at that point, you're integrating. And so, you're dilated enough to accept it and bring it in, I would say, on Thursday. So it sounds like it takes a week for us to get this realization.
Well, because that's not only the only thing that's happening on that Thursday, April 24th. Venus is then conjuncting Saturn. So everything you just said about Saturn, everything you just said about Venus, now imagine those in a sandwich together at 27 degrees. So Saturn moves, from its grandmaster 26 to 27. And so now what you said about forcing, if there's exterior circumstances that are going to force it, here's where it starts to happen, is on that Thursday. And Venus at this point and both Saturn at this point are not going to listen to your excuses. They're not going to put up with it. Not at 27. They're not. So, yeah, there you go. And then a couple of days later, Mars is going to oppose Pluto. And I find this very interesting. I think a lot of the Sirius Joy audience knows I like this whole idea about when two planets are in some kind of an alignment with each other. One used to be the previous ruler of a sign. Now this is the current ruler of the sign. When you've got Mars, what used to rule Scorpio, and now Pluto, the new ruler of Scorpio since the 30s, and you've got that opposition, that is a balance of something that's old and new. It's a belief structure because it's at 3 degrees. Whatever happened earlier in the week with that Sun square Pluto, now you got to find a way to work with it, act on it, all of that kind of stuff. And that will require some deft action. It's going to require something new that you haven't done, but it also means don't lose faith because of the 27. So I think that this entire week, that this helps us ultimately get our heart involved in this we go. But my goodness, some of the fear that it could bring up with the squares and with this particular opposition. So before we go to commercial, Christopher, what do you want to add to it?
I just want to add that there's a, it's Taurus, so overall people are a little sedated. But there's a lot of conflict this week. The squaring of Mars and the squaring Pluto. That's no joke. There's wars that start in those degrees, those squares. Mars opposing Pluto, there's wars that started that opposition too, in history. So there's a lot of warfaring energy on the planet. Now, however, it's all in the inner verse of the first decan. So I don't feel it will happen. I feel like this is where people decide they will wage war one day. When they get their chance, like that evil monologue will kind of happen. And the Mars opposing Pluto, I think, just to say to your last point there is, Pluto's saying you have to believe in yourself. You have to. And Mars is like, then you have to love yourself more. And Pluto's like, believe more, love yourself more, believe more, love yourself more. So then there's a back and forth there of realizing every time you want to believe, you're going to need more love to pull that off. Or to be more loving to yourself. It's sort of kind of little engine that could going up that steep hill. That's what I see it as.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be tough, but we'll get through it.
We'll get
All
through
right,
it.
friends. We do have a quick short announcement here from our commercial sponsor. Stay tuned.
Whether you have answers or you're seeking answers,
There's something here for everyone.
The love that is felt in the room, it's unmatched.
Talking to all these other people and all these different stages of life.
Energy changing, next level.
It's allowing me to have tears of joy, not the tears of sadness that I've had for so long.
They've all been super inspiring.
I've been brought to tears.
I'm learning how to love myself.
I've never felt so comfortable in my life.
It has been a blast. Highly recommend.
We're back to the Taurus Megascope monthly address, Beauty Outshining Chaos this month. That was our sponsor, UniteTheLight.love. By the way, we are selling tickets. And for those of you who cannot make the journey or the pilgrimage, we now have streaming tickets available at UniteTheLight.love. It's going to be a great show. You can't imagine what we've got lined up for you. We released this week, Robbie, that we have this panel, the panel of Will Earth Survive? Have you seen that one?
About our channel panel. I'm looking forward to that one. That's three powerful people channeling some powerful energies. Who knows what we're going to hear?
Yeah, and the energies come out at the same time. So we have Archangel Metatron, who will be speaking at the same time as the Pleiadians, at the same time as Mary Magdalene. So it's really, we have guested Mary Magdalene, the Pleiadians, and Archangel Metatron to debate on whether Earth will survive. So I cannot wait for that one. It's going to be amazing. It's on day 2, by the way. It'll be great to watch. And for those who are watching at home, realize it's going to be a great show from home. We're going to have commentary. We're going to have people, we're going to have interviews. We're going to be doing free psychic readings with psychics online in our break periods. Like, we've made this a huge Olympic fun upgrade for those watching at home now. We've made it almost a bigger event for home than it is for the present who come. I mean, it's hard to describe being up and close to these people or the fun stuff where you can network with other Sirius joiners and other people around the world. So check it out at UniteTheLight.love. All right, so where's that bring us? Week 2. Are you opening
Week
this or
2.
not? I can't remember.
You are opening this one, Christopher.
All right, that's right. Purple here. So week 2 open. It happens from April 27th to May 3rd, when we call week 2, chapter 2. We'll move from steps 7 Taurus to 13. So 7, you remember, it all goes outward as of 9 to 10. So you end up going from the inner to the outer verse during the course of this week. This is you carrying that new self-awareness and self-worth into the beginning of your outer world. And a big theme of things, it's like you come to realize what you are worth. And then for steps 11, 12, and 13, you realize what you are not worth. So it's really, you take that worth to the outer world and you suddenly go, oh, the world's not treating me right. The world's not on my level. I deserve more. And so you should come out this week feeling like you deserve more. Now, the plot of the week, the main plot is allow your beauty to outshine that chaos. All right? In a share kind of way. I think share, study, and share. And the reason for this is Neptune goes to 1 degree Aries. So this is what I call a golden ray of light. I think what I mean by golden ray of light is like God consciousness is Neptune, and 1 degree Aries is the birth of man. And that's it. Now, man goes shitty after step 2. So it's like 1 minute, 1 year, man is good, and then man goes, takes advantage of that and goes down different rabbit holes. But I call it a golden light. It's a golden light of creation that's coming out. I think creativity with a K. I think we're gonna have some brilliant creativity for those who are artists who channel creativity. I think the spectrum is gonna be off the hook for that energy. And this is, of course, we have a new moon that happens this week. We also have Venus conjunct Neptune, which is also kind of saucy. So there's a lot of just beauty, wonderful, kind of drunken energy. What am I thinking of? The Nectar of the Gods. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, like ambrosia.
Yeah, it's an ambrosia week. Thank you. It's a week of ambrosia drinking and ambrosia fest. So I think it's going to be great in that sense. We're going to feel all this great. And underneath, though, there is chaos. The subplot of the week, though, is also kind of speaking to accepting things for what they are. It is I accept and receive the lighter path. And that means what we need to do is the fact that there will be some moments with Jupiter going to 21. That's a grandmaster degree of Jupiter, so things kind of get smooth with your beliefs. And Chiron goes to 24. Thank God. We're starting to calm down with Chiron. And Venus goes into Aries, which, pretty much at least puts her in check. I'm not crazy about Venus and Aries personally, but overall, what we want to do is we want to accept and receive that things are calming down in some areas. So part of the work of the week, if you want to call it work, is not getting worked up. So to not get worked up, it's the work, I think. What question should we ask ourselves, though?
Oh, the question that we're going to ask ourselves is courtesy of Black Moon Lilith moving to 4 degrees Scorpio, that breakdown to breakthrough degree. And the question is, do I trust my boundaries to keep it together? One of the things when Black Moon Lilith moves to a new degree, she brings up this new small little nugget of fear that if you invest in it, it's going to get really, really big fast, and especially in Scorpio. So with all of this stuff going on, if you just look at the first week, we had square, 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 forcing, doing this, doing that. Now we're hearing this week that Christopher had called an ambrosia week. Things seem like they feel good, at least for us, at least for the Sirius Joy community. There's still probably going to be a hell of a lot of chaos out there. So in this sweet kind of feeling, all right, can I keep this all together? Can I still hold the line? Can I still hold this sweet ambrosia while I'm going out there in the world that is choosing to do something other than? But can I keep my boundaries to make sure that I don't get involved in all that? Can I still stay integrated with the we go? And that's just Black Moon Lilith whispering in your ear. And you may get a breakdown about something that you're still a little in fear about. That's fine. Just know you are well equipped to move through all this and that your boundaries are going to stay together. Everything will be fine.
We'll hold the fort together. Black Moon Lilith at 4 is that nasty voice in your head. It's like, you deserve this. When people like take on the voice of their parents or, of the Catholic Church or something from a past life, and you're just putting yourself down, being your worst enemy to yourself, that's BML at 4 right there. That's at 4 degrees where you are just an ass to yourself on the inside, and you think somehow it's going to make it better. So catch yourself in that, and you'll be catching her at work, I think, right there.
I think one of the other questions that she also asked is dealing with that belonging. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are putting on that presentation or doing that thing? Who do you think you are? Oh, I think I'm wonderful and I belong right here.
And I think I agree. The same voice, exactly. And it comes for Scorpio is that you're on the wrong side of your heart. You're not on the right side of your heart. So there's only one right side of your heart, and that's self-love. So loving yourself, that's the only side we have to be on. We never need to criticize our heart. But so I think you're going to discover where you have fear and trauma around being on the wrong side of your heart that week. And so it could get real ugly, y'all, for yourself, but not in the world, I think. Well, the new moon is an interesting one. That hits on Sunday, April 27th at 3:31 p.m. Eastern Time at Step 7 Taurus. I see this new moon as really us manifesting officially the new story inside of ourselves. So we've been working on this new spiritual story over 2 years at least, implementing it, with Saturn moving into Pisces and clearing all the inner karma out. And then the sun accepting that karma as the way. And we've been now swapping out we-goes. We've been really getting ready to get on this new spiritual journey. This is the christening of that new inner journey. This is a new you, a new day for you, a fresh breath of air for you. This is the comeback. So for some people, it's the comeback kid. When you come back, for those, it's where you're finally clear on things. I can see clearly now the rain is gone, that kind of thing. So I feel like there's a renewal, like a fresh breath there, a spring rain kind of energy with this. And it's that your spirit is revitalized. And I think the side effects of this that you'll suddenly have, and I think everyone gets this whether they try or not, new faith in yourself, renewed, fresh faith in yourself.
I like that. And I hope
you sound good too.
I hope we use it that way. But adding some of the renewed faith, let's go ahead and let Venus into Aries. That is going to be on Wednesday, April 30th. And when I say let's let Venus into Aries, that's the open up part of Venus, letting her into Aries. Now, when I think about the we go, I think about Aries, Libra. Aries, me taking myself out into the world, Libra, we go, and how these two work together. Now, like what Christopher said earlier, I'm not too fond about Venus in Aries. I don't know that I have an opinion one way or the other. However, I think this is going to be a very different Venus into Aries. She's already gone into Aries. Where did she go? Did she go 7 or 8 degrees? I don't remember now. But she's already been into Aries and then did her retrograde into Pisces, retrograding to 24 degrees, her grandmaster degree. So to me, she's just taking a new level of faith and of creating with it. But in Aries, that's also about to not pull any punches, meaning, are we part of the we go? Are you part of my we go? No. Okay, thank you. Over here. I don't need to fight you. I do not need to tell you how bad you are. I just need to go and go back over here. And so I think that we're going to see some velvet hammers with Venus and Aries now, that, she's going to quietly and nicely and politely say no or say yes. But the point being, she's not going to have to force it. She is opening up. She is creating all of this. And if it's there, it's there. She's going to be great. And if not, she's walking away.
Yeah. Venus in Aries to me is like, you basically have male and female energy. Female coming into a male camp. So it's ba-na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na-na-na. So that's what kind of, I think men are just kind of like, it's sort of I don't know, softens the edges of all this Aries change. We just went through and had all the Aries change and the weekend on this flop out, and now it comes in the powder and the blush, and like, let's just kind of smooth things out, polish things out a little bit. Is the net effect of it? Venus herself I see Venus is in Taurus. Venus in Aries is a woman from Texas. these are cowgirls, and you're not going to mess with them. And there's a toughness there about that. Venus and Aries. And any woman I've dated with Venus and Aries is I'll hear that one more time, and I'll never hear that again. Right? There's a tough aspect to it right there. We're going to shut off right here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it in some ways because it really helps with tough love. I'll say that.
Well, and she'll certainly do that because she's going to 14 Aries. I had to look it up during this transit, so she'll have her mind right too.
Yes, and restore balance, in fairness. So if you've gone too far in Aries, she's going to pull it right back to where she belongs.
Absolutely.
But then she's also going to go ahead and make love with the wizard. Venus is conjuncting Neptune at 1 degree Aries. So there's going to be some sort of a bash going on that you probably shouldn't bring cameras to. Step 1 ultimately says Venus will help you open up and love yourself in an ego way. What's that mean? Well, self-deserving, physical, literal. This is a literal transit. But Venus conjuncting Neptune, first of all, is probably the best drugs on the planet. Like the two coming together is just amazing euphoria potential. This is the golden ray of light I was talking about, just amazing love pouring through you. I would imagine there'll be a moment where people may fall in love with themselves again. That's a good possibility where you hadn't loved yourself. So you've forgotten just how amazing you are. You've forgotten how the potential you hold inside of you. And so something reminds you of that. Something that's timeless, right? Also, because Neptune goes through space-time. So this is a memoir of yours, so to speak, amongst many lifetimes. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to feel amazing. So Friday, May 2nd, man, ask them out on Friday, May 2nd. You do that first day on Friday, May 2nd, oh, that person's going to be in love with you and not even realize it. So I say, some real good witch doctor medicine going on that day. I'll tell you right now.
Better than Valentine's Day, most certainly.
Oh, this is what you wish Valentine's Day would feel like. And we never felt it. The last person to feel this kind of joygasm was Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah,
right?
You alluded to that in a pep talk several weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the last time we had this was Abraham Lincoln felt that one. Wow. Or maybe he didn't. He was a cold Aquarius. Just kidding.
Hey, now watch out.
Well, back then I think they were colder. I'm just saying. He seemed colder.
Maybe the times required it.
Oh, it did, for sure. Yeah. So, okay, that moves on to, I guess it's you. Moving on to week 3, Miss Robbie.
I am going to tell everyone about week 3, a week that we are calling Feeling Like I Finally Understand. Hallelujah. As we're going through this Taurus transit. And remember, Taurus doesn't like to be uncomfortable. So when we go through Taurus, that just, you don't have to be a Taurus sun sign. It's just going to kind of pick on that as well as you're doing that. So anything that you don't like being uncomfortable with, it's certainly going to bring up. We're saying, though, that this is where you are ready to think in more profitable ways. Now, let me go back to feeling like I understand. That really has a lot to do with Pluto going retrograde. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But then feeling more profitable. Well, of course, because it's Taurus. But remember, Taurus is about all kinds of resources, something that you can resource. So it's not only about the dollar, but something that you can continue to invest. It may be a skill. It may be something other than just the dollar bill or the euro if you are there in Europe. But still, a way that helps you feel that you are getting more than what you've paid for. And then the big question. Ooh, this is a very interesting question for this week. What you got there, Christopher?
Yeah, profitable ways is great. I'll just speak to that. Again, I wanted to speak subtly against what's happening in the economy right now. The economy looks like it's tanking. It's not. It's not tanking, y'all. It's your mind is going there, and your mind's allowing it. So be careful. Okay, do not fall for that shift. Everything the planet says money, 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 money. Okay, so the astrology wants us to make money, and I think Mercury and Taurus is going to allow that. But this is, probably speaks to what I was just saying. The question of the week is, do I trust my new ideas, and why? Do I trust them? Do you trust these ideas? Now, we get this question from really a couple of major factors. One, Jupiter goes to 23 degrees Gemini. That's a grandmaster degree of Gemini. What that means is that you're going to form an opinion, an official opinion, where you say to yourself, I know this is it. I know this is the way. I know it. I know it. I know it. And then that Black Moon Lilith voice, and you'll be like, are you sure? Right? And that comes to the fact that she's going to be at 5 degrees Scorpio. So we literally have a Jekyll Hyde setup here, intellectually, from an astrological perspective, where you will have a part of you that is like all on board, and then any part of you that doubts, puts suspicion in yourself, like draws negative comparisons, brings up the past and throws it to you like monkeys throwing shit, that would also come up at the same time. You have both coming up. And the question is, which are you going to give power to? And by the way, power is attention. So you give a lot of attention to one, you're giving it power. Give a lot of attention to the other, you're giving it power. So you literally have to decide which one you're going to trust. And I'll give you a little clue here right now. It's the one your heart wishes was true. The one your heart wishes was true is the one your soul intends to do, period. The heart that wishes is true is the one you intend to do. That's what your soul intends to do. It'd only be you giving power to the wrong side that would prevent that. So I think it's an interesting day, interesting week of going back and forth in your head. So, over the course of this week, a couple of things I think are important is Jupiter 23 Gemini. Be mindful of that. And Black Moon Lilith, don't let that voice bring you down, Robbie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always don't let Black Moon Lilith bring you down. And I just want to bring up one thing about the whole economy thing.
Okay.
The best time is when the economy, when everyone else is in chaos about it. And any kind of chaos situation, when you can sit there and hold that emotional tone, why do you think we've been talking to you about it so much? When you can hold that emotional tone, I don't care what's going on with the economy. I don't care what's going on with your marriage. I don't care about these things. If you can hold an emotional tone, you can navigate through chaos. And it's the people who navigate. They navigate slowly, and they're the ones who see the crumbs. They see the breadcrumbs they see the trail, they see the opportunity. You can only see those things that are quote unquote hidden when you're calm and when you are not investing in the chaos. And again, I don't care what it is, economies or your personal relationships. So this holding an emotional tone, this is a month in which if you do that, then there's the beauty and you are outshining the chaos and you're finding the potential. One thing that will help you is going to be Pluto going retrograde. And that's happening on Sunday, May 4th. So May the 4th be with you. It's going retrograde at 3 degrees. It will stay at 3 during this Taurus transit. Part of what we've been calling this in the megas has been that the hitman is on hiatus. Now look, Pluto's where the buck stops. And Pluto ain't putting up with anything before it moves on to something else. So it's staying there at 3 and then going retrograde is a bit like saying, okay, I'm done with the work I need to do. Let's see what you're going to do with it. So think about it this way. You have something done to your teeth. You have somebody come and do something in your house. Somebody makes a repair, but it's not done yet. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do to protect it? Hey, the handyman says, okay, I have stopped the leaking, but don't overdo with the hot shower. Don't do this, don't do that until I get back to fix the rest of it. That's kind of what this is. When I sat in some meditation this morning about it, that was kind of what came up to me. A temporary repair that you've got to make sure you don't leave unguarded. This is about your beliefs. And how easy is it in the midst of chaos to just sit there and just get all caught up in it like this, and then pretty soon you're locked in. Don't dismiss what happens with the change in your beliefs. Don't leave them unguarded. And when this happens, I think it's going to be subtle. I mean, I know it's Pluto, and Pluto can wield a cosmic 2x4, but I think it will be subtle and kind of sneak its way in, especially given where Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio. So that's what I've got to say about Pluto in Aquarius going retrograde there.
And she's squaring Pluto. So she's causing trouble. She's throwing dirt. She's throwing mud. Yeah, I think it's when Pluto moves, it's like, yes, I do believe myself. I do believe myself. And then Pluto goes on hiatus, and suddenly it's like, you think for reals? You know, this is where you stand up and say, I do believe in astrology. You do? You know, so suddenly you get, skepticism or whatever you hadn't had, and you have to toe the line. You don't have Pluto just kind of, bark at them for you like a bulldog, I find. Mm-hmm. You really got to reinforce it. And Pluto makes you prove it. You got to take the walk. And you got to walk the talk, right? Mm-hmm. That's on Sunday, May the 4th be with you. And boy, will it be. And then Tuesday, May 6th, Mercury will conjoin Chiron. Now, this is a big deal for many reasons. One, Mercury and Chiron are very close cousins. They're probably from an inbred family, same parents or something. They're so tied. This is the same. You see this, by the way, by every Virgo having some obsession with a Gemini lover once upon a time. And some Gemini lover having some obsession with the Virgo. That's this thing. This Mercury and Chiron are like, their cousins that slept together or something. They're very tied together. And so when they come together, it is a bit weird and comforting at the same time. What is that the mind finally gets aligned. So the mind might be way off course. Chiron gets that shift all in order, right? Chiron says, you got to heal. You got to bring things in alignment. You're off here. You're off here. So I think at first it's sort of like getting a haircut, that energy. Your mind is going to finally come online. It comes to a genius point, and it comes to an integration, right? So the Mercury, much smaller force than Chiron, actually. Chiron, I believe, being the ruler of Virgo, and Mercury being the ruler of Gemini. So this is literally the two of those coming together. Now, at step 24, Aries is very interesting because this means that the mind and the healing. Now, realize Chiron is what we become. The body is Chiron. The body is ruled by Chiron. So the body is the becoming. It becomes what the soul was. And so Mercury becomes the body becomes Mercury, and they become together 24 Aries, which means they both align that your mind and body feels, step 2, that it belongs on a certain path. So I think the biggest takeaway of this is you're going to be convinced after Tuesday that you belong. You are born to be. You belong on a certain path or on a certain relationship or married a certain person. And this is a healing on top of it because prior you didn't think so. I mean, Chiron is always healing something. So it's going to erase and heal something as a result in your life and heal a relationship and heal a relationship potential. That's my 2 cents on it. Anything to add to that, Miss Robbie Virgo Moon?
To me, at 24, it's also the invitation to, it's about, follow me on this one. Chiron deals with healing, and I think that many times we try to tell God universe what healing is going to look like. And that's why I sat down one day years ago and said, I need to really get down to what is healing. And that to me, healing is returning something to your original function, just returning it to the original function. So we sit there and we want to, we feel like the way for something to be healed means that the relationship needs to happen a certain way. Somebody needs to do something. And no, none of that. God universe understands that the returning something back to its original function is going to be very different. And in this one, because it conjuncts at 24, that Grand Master Venus degree, and Venus is in Aries. She's watching from where she is in that beginning part of Aries. To me, this is like our mind understanding. This is healed, just not in the way you thought. Just not in the, and so the 4 in that, the Aquarius erratic kind of thing. This is different. Lean into it and don't let your mind talk you out of it. Because if your mind talks you out of it, it's going to talk you back into the old stuff, the old wounds of Chiron that we've been done with. That whole karma thing that we worked with last year on it, we're done with it. And the mind can see that, and now the mind doesn't feel the temptation to go back. That's what I would add to that. All right. So there we go.
Just a dash.
Sorry for the dissertation there, but I needed to do that. Okay.
Virgo Moon. No, I agree with you. I mean, I think there's no. I mean, that's like if a Gemini and a Virgo argue, the Virgo's going to win. At the end of the day, that Mercury's going to agree to all the terms and conditions of that Virgo. So I agree with you.
Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. Next up is Friday, May 9th. This is another one of those days where we have no exact alignments. And interestingly enough, and we've been joking about it behind the scenes at Sirius Joy, this is Sensei's birthday. And here it is, a no exact alignments day in which he could just float off and we never see him again. So we are taking steps to make sure we've got Apple tags on him, air tags. We got all kinds of stuff. We're not letting him fly, getting a hot air balloon, none of that kind of stuff. We're going to make sure he stays grounded. But this is another one of those days where the planets are not doing conjunctions, squares, sextiles, trines, any of that stuff. Lots of times you see this with the moon, and we call it moon void, of course. Well, this is now the planet's void. And actually, in the Aries mega, we called that the void of God oddity. So we got another date. We've got more coming in the rest of 2025, but this is the one here. So just put that date down. The best way to use that date is to allow yourself to be more free, maybe free to think about ideas, suggestions, places that you hadn't even thought about. Your free will is not tethered to the guardrails of what happens when these planets have these exact alignments, but also don't make major decisions because your emotions are also out there as well. And it just means that if you started something well before this, okay, go ahead and make your decision about it. But you may have an idea come up and go, I feel like a banana farm. That's what I should do. A banana farm. Don't do that on Friday, May 9th. You think it over a little bit more on the days to come. Christopher.
Come have a banana daiquiri with me. And I think that's how banana republics began, right there. So, a banana farm, that's an idea right there. I mean, the last two Void of Gods that we had were pretty crazy. We had an earthquake happen this week on the Void of God. So we literally the earth shook. I was saying, I'm almost saying the Void of God took the pressure. It's like the planets were holding back maybe the earthquake. And once the planets voided, maybe that's what let go. The fault here in California. So it was interesting too. And prior to that, I was just a complete, idiot on that Void of God. So I'm expecting an idiot birthday. It's going to be fun.
Well, but we as a staff also had that on March 31st. It was a Monday. We're doing our regular Monday morning meeting, and we couldn't come up with an astrological interpretation if you had paid us. I mean, we're like, oh, maybe this. And to the point that we finally just said, okay, we're done.
We adjourned, and that's all I'll be doing. I'll be adjourning. I may not be with you, but so you can say that, yes, it was my birthday, Void of God, of course. Makes total sense. But then May 10th, the next day, which usually is hijacked by Mother's Day, that's how I grew up, we have Mercury ingressing into Taurus. Thank goddess. So Mercury comes into Taurus after being in Aries, and the first thing Mercury realizes, oh, shit, we forgot about 10 things. We skipped past 10 things in Aries, so we got to do now. So that means that we're going to be, once in Taurus at 8:15 a.m. on May 10th. I think shift gets real. I think you start getting really serious about constructive. I think we get very productive. I think your profitability goes higher. So this is where we're ready to think in more profitable ways. This is it. We're ready to think in more profitable ways. Profitable means that we're going to get 2 for 1, 3 for 1, 5 for 1. Let's see what kind of deal we can get. And that's also your interest that you invest in as well. So, I think Mercury in Aries is, Speedy Gonzalez, jumping to conclusions, missing a lot of facts. So just slow down when it hits that May 10th because you got some things that go back and look at your work when Mercury's in Aries. You skip something, I guarantee you. All right. Well, we're going to be right back here after another commercial. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the month and tell you what Taurus will end with this year. Be right back. The Unite the Light Lightworker Summit is reborn in 2025, May 17th to the 19th, reincarnating in Nashville, Tennessee, the capital of country music light. If you live to make the world a better place, we invite you to gather and co-create for 2 days. Day 1, meet curated, heartfelt influencers sharing strategies and innovation. Day 2 calls for conscious conversations. Lightworker power panelists discuss industry urgent topics. And for the first time, you requested, we co-created a third day, a 36-hour, ultra-private, closed-door, Whisper Summit. We call it Afterglow, where 2 or more gather, featuring high wattage leaders of light who share unpublished career advice and trade secrets. It all takes place in the luxurious Gaylord Opryland Hotel, where you may enjoy a full spa, poolside drinks, and tasty dining. And don't miss our Honky Tonk Sumper and Step Networking event happening Saturday night. Wear cowboy attire, feast, and learn Astro secrets about you and cosmic allies. Consider this an invitation. Let us celebrate our ascension at the brightest gathering of love in the world. Ticket sales are open now at unitethelight.love. That's unitethelight.love. And I want to stress we're 1 month away Robbie. We're in 1 month and 2 days, we'll be Unite the Light together. It's going to be fun. Nashville, Tennessee. I'm looking forward to being there with you. It's going to be a bit of a hoedown. We're going to have some fun, be in your territory. Watch my mouth, be good.
It's been a year since you and I have seen each other, and I am trying to use these last 30 days to still determine how many boots I'm going to bring.
Ooh, yeah, it should kick in. It's going to be great. And I'm looking forward to just being in the area of that energy. And we have a lot of people we're working with in local Nashville. Just FYI, I want to say thank you to those people. Light workers in Nashville are amazing light workers. But we also want to point out that you don't have to go. If you can't make the journey, you still can attend. That is with the virtual summit. Pick up your tickets at Unite Light Love right now. You can get a summit ticket. Now, if you want a discount on that, there's a lot of us who are selling them on the side. And having discount links. So perhaps someone that you know, namely myself or Robbie on her timeline, will be selling on our social media. You can get a discount for that streaming ticket too. So no reason to pay full price. Also, if you're a Sirius Joy subscriber, you get a hell of a discount. So you can sign up for Sirius Joy for $3.99 and be discounted far more than that when you purchase a ticket. Now, you want to purchase a ticket because if you are a viewer of this, we're taking this to a whole nother level next year. We have what we call the Board of Light. And this is going to be a virtual spiritual congress that we're creating for light workers. And in some cases, we're coming together in a kind of union form. If you actually do sign up for the streaming ticket, you get a free seat, basically, in our circle, basically our social network called Unite the Light Circle, where you can be a part of the circle, the inner circle, and also have discounts on the Board of Light, the ability to continue learning, continue growing, and continue adding context. I'll tell you, folks, this will be my opening speech. I won't give away too much, but we have got to come together right now like we never have before. We have got to come together. If you don't know, when you look around and you see this mess, it's our job. We came here to fix it. We did. And our cue is now. We don't have anything to blame it on except ourselves. We're not being held 6 feet apart. It's time for us to step into the light. And if we don't come together, they'll pick us off one by one. Let me tell you. That's how it's going to work.
Strength in numbers.
Strength in numbers, indeed. All right, that brings us to a happy-go-lucky week 4. I think, do I open this? I guess
you do. Yes.
All right. Manifest potential hits historic heights. That is basically what we're calling with week 4. This is where really there is potential for great money. Now, let me tell you, everyone keeps telling me, Chris, stock market, are you worried? Should I pull out? No, I would not pull out. I would not pull out and sell at all. That would be a fool. I think that's exactly what they want you to do. Give up your stuff for a cheap price. Let some other billionaire come up and buy it. No. Don't fall for that again, people. The planets say that money's coming. Money's here. Money's everywhere. The problem is that we have all sorts of things that are breaking the rules. We can't talk about that now. But the truth is, the astrology says things are profitable. The Sun conjunctive, think about just when Uranus was in Taurus last time. We were spending billions of dollars a year we didn't have, in World War II. And what happened after World War II? A huge boom. They called it happy days. It was such a big boom after that. It was incredible. And it was the biggest debt we'd ever had. Oh my God, we're in so much debt in World War II. And we had the biggest boom. The most wealthy generation ever. The baby boom came after this particular transit, Uranus and Taurus. So don't tell me we're going down, we're going up. That is my official statement. I will die on that hill. Now, this is where it hits potential is this first week, mostly because of the full moon at 22 degrees Scorpio. That full moon shatters basically the glass ceiling you had as far as earnings. Okay? We've all had fear keep us back from being in that next level. And those fears are based on a whole bunch of things, like the Catholic Church and all sorts of things that said it's evil to have money, it's evil to go this way, all sorts of things. We were told and shamed not to go there. That breaks apart with that 22 full moon. Now, the subtitle of the week is Surrendering to the Cosmic Undertow. Holy shift. This is the week of Unite the Light, by the way. So this is the week we plan to have this. This is going to be some powerful forces. One of the reasons that we're going to Unite the Light on this week is because we're taking advantage of this and we're doing some group manifestation. We're doing co-creative manifestation. That's right. You could call it spell making. In the old days, we were creating some powerful spells. We're taking advantage of the energy and we're bringing a ton of light workers under one roof with this particular energy. It's not an accident. It's a plan. The biggest is Sun conjuncting Uranus at 27 Taurus. Holy shift. And this is the same day this happens when Chiron goes to 25 Aries and Jupiter goes to 25 Gemini. So let me just say it again. The day the sun conjuncts Uranus, we have Chiron goes spiritual, 25 Aries. We have Jupiter goes spiritual, 25 Gemini. They both move to 25s on the same day, okay? When this happens, when the sun conjuncts Uranus. That is a miracle. That is a magical, energetic force, basically. And if you don't take advantage of it and put up your wings, you're going to be blown down. Let me tell you that right now. So what question do you have for the group with that drama?
Well, let me follow that one with this big question that we have got during this particular week. Does my discomfort distort the path of least resistance? This is Black Moon Lilith going to 6 degrees Scorpio. So be careful what you open that door to. And it's an encouragement to open to maybe a resolution of some kind of fear that, if you don't face it, that it's not going away. But again, reminding you in Taurus, we end up dealing with things that are uncomfortable. And so is my discomfort keeping me away from that open? I don't want to jump in that pool. Well, you're dressed for it and the pool is warm. I know, but I've never been in that one before. No, it is letting you know that if there's some discomfort there, you're actually right where you do belong. You are in the place where you need to be. It's just how you're going to dance with it, how you're going to engage with it. And are you going to take that discomfort? You're going to turn it into chaos, or you're going to turn it into beauty? I advise you to turn it into beauty. Christopher, what about you?
I'll say this, just to wrap up on this first week. It goes from May 11th to 20th, first of all. It steps 21 to 29. So these are the final steps of Taurus. And these final steps of Taurus, any Taurus woman will tell you, make sure you don't just ruffle her feathers, because the way to abundance is to feel calm and taken care of. All right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to rush a Taurus woman at 21 to 29 degrees off of any train or anything fast now. You take your time, you take your sweet ass time, says that cow, because it takes a lot of work to make milk. You know what I mean? So what it comes down to is you have got to feel good. If you feel good, you will bring in the wealth. That's the secret to the master degrees of Taurus. It's how you feel day to day that calls in that abundance. Saying that, the first thing I got to bring up is, this Mercury square Pluto. So the mind gets put on check, I think, by Pluto. I think that this square, Mercury squares Pluto at 3 degrees on Monday, May 12th. This is where I think the mind, I just feel intuitively that the mind was going half off, starting to entertain ideas that maybe I'm not worth it, maybe I can't do it, maybe I can't pull it off, maybe. And Pluto's like, you better shut your mouth, Mercury. I think Pluto just calls it out. And by the way, Pluto does hire secret agents all the time. So it could be your roommate, it could be your friend, it could be a person on the street. If you cross my path and I catch it in public, I'll definitely speak for Pluto, because that's the kind of person I am, and be like, you need to shut your mouth, and believe in yourself right now. So we get called and checked on having to believe in ourselves. We get checked by Pluto, and once you're checked by a Scorpio, there's nothing else to be checked on again. Right?
There's nothing left.
No. Yeah, you're naked.
Well, let me add something to that Mercury square Pluto, because remember, it is a retrograde Mercury as well. Pluto as well. And this is Mercury that has now just moved into Taurus, starting to unfold all of this stuff. Remember, Mercury is still the smart ass, and it can still try to get its own way. Now, I feel like we're in a whole different dance with Mercury right now. And just a little side note, the mainstream astrology world says that Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo. And we, of course, as was said earlier, we see Chiron as the ruler of Virgo. Well, part of why I think that people like Christopher and others years ago who got the insight into that is that for this period of time, the mind isn't going to be quite as controlling if we will allow it. If we will allow it just to be over here in Gemini, doing the data collection, doing the organizing of the stuff, getting everything and sending it on down the line. Not doing what it would do in Virgo, get all the details and then get way too overloaded by that. This is a new Mercury that we're dancing with. And now in that square with Pluto in Aquarius, a place it hasn't been in 200 and something years, 245 years, I'm thinking that our mind is going to be able to learn how to integrate with not only Aquarius energy, but a whole new way of believing. And the mind, maybe, just maybe, if we stay in it, won't fight us quite so much. I think that this is a time for our mind that we've been waiting for. And astrologers like Christopher picked it up 20 something years ago and started understanding that Chiron was the ruler of Virgo. We don't need Mercury anymore. How's that for going on a tangent there?
Well,
Mr.
you sure did. That's actually, that was a throwback to the first tangent where we're talking about Mercury and Chiron.
Mm-hmm.
You just picked that fight right back up again, didn't you? Yeah.
It's what I do.
No, I love it. I think it's good. And I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's you at the full moon, right?
No, you've got the full moon there, Mr.
Oh, excuse
Witecki.
me. I'm going to backwards here. See, I got caught off there. So, full moon. All right. So this is the glass shattering. This is this glass ceiling shattering. We got a full moon at 22 degrees Scorpio. It happens at 12:55 p.m. Okay, that means the sun's at 22 degrees Taurus. Now that full moon is what we call a quantum full moon. Quantum comes from the two twos. Two sets of twos is 4, right? Because there's 2 and 2 make 4. That means that in any one moment, there's 4 possibilities that can happen in the same moment, okay? That same moment of 4 possibilities, obviously, we live in a duality. There's only 2 possibilities in every moment. Right now, you get to a quantum moment, there's 4 possibilities in the moment. That's what quantum is. You go to another dimension instead of staying in this one. This is a dimension breaker. This is a dimension shifter. This is pretty much where the people who disagree, I'm not sure how it works. It could be the people who agree. I mean, agree to what? At some point, everyone comes out of this on another dimension. I think, Robbie, this is where this is where the society splits right here. This is where society splits in the sense of, okay, we had almost 6 months now to figure out if you're going to face your karma, if you're going to believe in this, you're going to believe in that, you're on board with this, and this one train will go one way and one train will go another. And I think at that point that we split. What I mean split is like we realize that we're never going to get ever through to that other side. You're not going to get through to them. They're going to believe what they're going to believe, period. And that's their right. There's God-given souls. I mean, they have a right to everything they want to do, absolutely. So it's not about even us and them. It's about, okay, let's put our focus now on our dimension, on the dimension that we want to bring. And this is right before, by the way, Unite the Light. Could not be more perfect timing, as far as I'm concerned, for Unite the Light, setting us up for really the light being strong. What I think it also means is it shatters. So 22 nets to a 4. That means that the ceiling, the Scorpio is a ceiling. So Scorpio is like, nope, they're not going past here. That's where Pluto says no. But this particular one, I think through belonging, through your heart saying, I belong there. Move aside, Bacon. There's something meteor here. I think that's what happens is that. So we shatter the ceiling of potential. In other words, yesterday, the average human could have made potentially this much money. Now it'll be that much money, right? Everything gets shattered. All the ceilings get shattered. It is really, the sky is not even the limit anymore because we're now a galactic society. It's really, the Pleiades are the limit. I mean, that's really how it needs to be said now. Pleiades are the limit. We literally going to have some sort of roof taken off over our head, revealing that we have a lot more space up there than we thought. And for the sun in Taurus, it means that one happy cow can now produce maybe on the level of 4 happy cows. So I'm expecting a brilliant innovation in manifestation at the base, where you realize that the simplest way this is going to unfold is you're going to realize, oh my God, I can take the same money and I can make 4 times as much money as I was making if I just do this. And it's that kind of innovative power, I think, that we're going to find, Robbie, with this full moon. And just be on the right side of your heart. I mean, if there's any warning here, you do something your heart tells you not to do, don't come talking to me. We warned you.
I'm totally with you on that shattering thing. You're using glass ceiling. I'll also add something that I think is shattering. Part of, what we call the veil, that little thing there where all the transformation happens. I think that if you will lean into this, it's the possibility for a lot of people to shatter a personal veil. And I say that because Black Moon Lilith is also there in Scorpio. And so maybe it's the greatest manifestation to, as we would say here in the South, be shed of something, be done with it in such a phenomenal way that it's like when a drain is unclogged and all of a sudden here comes all the water. And that's the Taurus, that it finally shatters something so much that here it comes. Because Taurus doesn't just give you one little kiss. Taurus gives you a whole bunch. Taurus always feels like if one's good, 100 is better. And so once that whole thing is shattered, the veil, it goes. Taurus now has room to work. And I'm excited about this because this squares my sun. So On I'll make a deal with you, Christopher. On Friday, May 9th, I'll be checking in on you to make sure that you're okay. But on Monday, May 12th, please check in on me and make sure that I'm okay. Because that score in my sun, I think, is going to also be a potential for me as well. But for everyone to really unclog something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love it. And you're right. We do some other. I'm like Pepe Le Pew. Lydia, I can't. We can't. That means you're giving me permission for a million kisses. So we might find, Robbie under a bunch of skunks trying to give her kisses. Is that what you're saying? It's gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You just gave me carte blanche to spend, so I'm gonna do it.
Okay, go for it.
And then the follow up to that is something fascinating. And if that wasn't enough,
well, yeah, I think you're going to talk about this one. What's next?
Okay, we're just getting this all. I think we're already in the vortex early on this one. So okay,
we must be. So yeah, because this one is the big one for our Taurus sensei.
Totally true. So well, this is what we planned. Unite the Light. I mean, actually, Unite the Light birthday is May 17th, and we keep track of that. Actually, May? It's actually May 18th. Excuse me. But that weekend is when all these events keep happening. And for this particular year, the sun is going to conjoin Uranus at 27 degrees Taurus on May 17th. So we'll be at the convention at that time, at the summit. This is your heart taking acid is what this is. Uranus at 27 is an intense degree of Uranus, all right? We're talking about a quantum wormhole that never stops dancing. We're talking about, I would say this. Let's put it this way. You know that spot on Jupiter that just won't stop spinning? That spot's probably a Uranus 27 degree rule spot. It's just a party that will just not stop. Like it is the continuum forever and ever and ever and ever and ever kind of energy, forever up and up and up and up and up. And so we are deliberately planting our seeds in a group of light workers in that energy and saying, take us up, take us higher. It is an energy that's going to call for you to keep going as high as you can go, as long as you can take it, kind of energy. And I think what this means is our heart gets catapulted in a quantum way to warp speed towards a higher view. Now, in a simple form, this is like the splitting of the atom. That's the last time we had something like this. When we split the atom, the last time Uranus was in Taurus, exactly. The last time we had that was the last time we split the atom. This is atom splitting energy, all right, that allows us to quantify, a new direction that leads to unlimited sources of power and energy, which is what splitting of the atom did. It led to unlimited power. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some sort of headline come out on or after or before that talks about free energy, that a new free energy device is out there. That could be possible.
I read that today. There was something on X. I read that today. There was something on X where someone said that the U.S. government had, I don't remember if it was a particular kind of machinery or what, but that they had learned how to deal with aspects of space-time. And that our government has had this for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to manipulate it, basically.
Right.
There's probably more coming, but yeah, that one. There
is more coming. Yeah. I see a couple comments here. Let's make money doesn't matter anymore. That's innovative. Yes, money will not matter once the light workers go ahead and make it. We got to all play the game. We got to win Monopoly. You got to win Monopoly, freeing it out of Monopoly. And this is our chance, y'all. It's like, it's not about money. It's about taking your power back, and you have to do it to the system that's in. So I do think it's time for, the Robin Hood syndrome. The Robin Hood were the ones who didn't have, and the ones who don't. That's the full circle of the karma. And I think that's the kind of upside down we will have with that kind of energy. And then we move on. This one will be yours. So that will be on the 17th. I think we're going to see waves and waves and waves of that. I also think we're going to see a lot of things that keep giving. And then what you just spoke to there, Robbie, I think that's Black Lilith and Scorpio. Like, oh, you've been lied to. You've been lied to. Black Lilith and Scorpio. We didn't talk about it, but I think all month it's going to be a lot of like, you've been lied to. She's a tattletale. She does turn on you.
Scorpio shows what's hidden, So,
yeah.
All right, let me wrap us up here with these last two things out of Taurus, and then we're going to let our community go do what they need to do with the rest of their day. This is Sunday, May 18th. We've got Mercury squaring Mars, 13 degrees. Now, this is what you've heard us at Sirius Joy call every once in a while the smart ass and the dumb ass. No, we mean that from a loving place, but even when we love them, they can get into mischief. And here they are at 13 degrees. That Mercury in Taurus, messing around with that Mars in Leo. But at 13 degrees, it is a particular part of a breakdown about some kind of belief. And what's dealing with belief? Oh, Pluto over there at 3 degrees Aquarius, now retrograde at this point. So there is something about our heart. But to me, Leo is also about just bringing the best that we've got. It's the sun. Leo's ruled by the sun. Taurus is the sun's in Taurus. So bringing the best, I think when I see this, those of you who are going to Unite the Light, I think you're going to look stunning. I think this square is going to have the women looking wonderful, the men looking desirable. Oh my God, how people are going to look so good during that particular day, which is why I've got to bring probably 3 of the 8 pairs of boots that I have. And then Jupiter squaring the North Node. So Jupiter in Gemini on the same day that the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is doing some work there, going to square the North Node. A whole new understanding. North Node at 25 Pisces, Grand Master Pisces, a whole new way of, oh, y'all are calling this manifestation. You're calling it this. Oh, no, this is God. This is how God universe works. And it's our mind being able to get around, oh, you mean that whole thing they call metaphysics? It actually works. And if you do this and if you do that, that's a way of accessing God universe. Well, who knew? The old wise sages, they knew. So it's to me, Christopher, I think we just end the Taurus season on a big bang with the largest planet, Jupiter, doing what it does in that square with the North Node. Like, wow, that's just cool.
One of the few things that can put the Jupiter in check is every other planet in the Gulf Stream. Like ultimately the Sun and Moon combined. Yeah, I mean, that's, by the way, those are the 2 days of Unite the Light. Sun conjunct Uranus, Mercury square Mars, and Jupiter square North Node. That is it. Like, I think anyone there who's there in person is going to have something phenomenal happening as far as their opening of their chakras and where they're heading. And I feel the square of North Node at 25 is, what I feel psychically there is that we haven't been shown what's in the attic. I don't think we assume, but we haven't been shown. I think there's, again, remember the ceiling got shattered with the 22-degree moon, Scorpio moon. So at that point, suddenly there's sunlight coming through. I didn't even know there's a roof up there. There's something up there we didn't know. And I think this is us breaking through certain energetic barriers. And I think we get a sneak peek at it. Like the Mercury Mars is like, okay, ego Mars, Mercury mind, shut up, sit down. You idiots that kept us in this room this whole time. Shut up, And I think Jupiter squared North Node is like, hey, what's up in here? What is this? I think it's basically the opening up of that portal energy. And I think we're going to start to experience stuff we have never even thought we could experience after that point. I think it's really magical after this point. I mean, this is where it goes down kind of a wonky, Willy Wonka sort of way. It starts to open up. And I think the rest of the year is just weird, frankly, from this point.
Well, and to be at Unite the Light with my Sirius Joy family, with the people that I work with our clients and our Sirius Joy family, it's just, I mean, what a great group of people to be able to experience that with.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you cannot imagine. I'll tell you right now, one thing I'll put out there is just to wrap up our show with Unite the Light is, people are worried about money. Stop worrying about money. You've got to invest your money and show God that you're going to have more coming. We've known that since The Secret now. Y'all, so stop. Do not hold back your money right now. Do not give in to that fear, because you're just signing up for another round of this. You tell your money where the power is, where you spend your dollars, where you put your power. Be very clear on that. Unless you've recently had all your money taken up by the bank, go out and spend it. Invest in what you want. Tell God Universe what you want right now and spend that money. Okay, Jupiter is in Gemini. It's going into Cancer, and it's either going to be a pleasant Cancer, feeling great, or it's not going to feel great. That kind of depends on what the thoughts and things you go with. You go with that thinking in Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini, you got some problems. You've wired yourself into that poverty thinking. We cannot be in that mindset anymore. I just got to say it. And at Unite the Light, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We now open up financing. If you need the tickets, finance, no interest for the first 6 months. We will finance it for the first 6 months. No interest. It's on the site now. So no excuses. Invest in yourself, y'all. Invest in what you want right now. I'm telling you, this is the moment for the Lightworkers to stand and do what they're here to do. This is the moment. This is it right here. This is our moment. So you either take it or you don't. That's all I have.
I'm going to invest in a new pair of boots.
That's what you need. Yeah, that's what you need. I know. And me, another blue suit. Be nice. Let's get
It works.
Well, it's been fun, y'all, talking to you this month of May. It's my birthday period, so I'm grateful for you all. Thank you in advance for everyone to say happy birthday when God is a void. And Robbie and I'll be back next month when the sun goes into Gemini. Any hints on that, Robbie? You want to say something?
I think our mind is going to explode with all the new things that we get to see and discover.
Agreed. Prediction. Mine will be blown in Gemini, and blown in a way you don't even know what blown means. It's going to be, to another level of what blown means. Let's leave it at that.
We've already looked at Gemini. We've already got a title for Gemini, so we do. We know what's coming, and I think it's going to blow our mind.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, till next month, we thank you for being a part of Sirius Joy. Remember, our main service is SiriusJoy.com. We can walk with you every day. We can send you 7 to 8 messages a day on your phone, reminding you of how bright you are, how amazing you are. Any other website or service or astrology reminds you how amazing you are every day? Nope. Just Sirius Joy. So we'll see you next month. Until then, we love you. Live, love, be.
Love and blessings to you all.
Whether you have answers or you're seeking answers.
There's something here for everyone.
The love that is felt in the room, it's unmatched.
Talking to all these other people in all these different stages of life.
Energy changing. Next level.
It's allowing me to have tears of joy, not the tears of sadness that I've had for so long.
They've all been super inspiring.
I've been brought to tears.
I'm learning how to love myself.
I've never felt so comfortable in my life.
It has been a blast. Highly recommend.
The Unite the Light Lightworker Summit is reborn in 2025, May 17th to the 19th, reincarnating in Nashville, Tennessee, the capital of country music light. If you live to make the world a better place, we invite you to gather and co-create for 2 days. Day 1, meet curated, heartfelt influencers sharing strategies and innovation. Day 2 calls for conscious conversations. Lightworker power panelists discuss industry urgent topics. And for the first time, you requested, we co-created a third day, a 36-hour, ultra-private, closed-door Whisper Summit. We call it Afterglow, where 2 or more gather, featuring high-wattage leaders of light who share unpublished career advice and trade secrets. It all takes place in the luxurious Gaylord Opryland Hotel, where you may enjoy a full spa, poolside drinks, and tasty dining. And don't miss our Honky Tonk Sumper and Step Networking event happening Saturday night. Wear cowboy attire, feast, and learn Astro secrets about you and cosmic allies. Consider this an invitation. Let us celebrate our ascension at the brightest gathering of love in the world. Ticket sales are open now at unitethelight.love. That's Unite the Light.